material, maybe a tape measure, and a knife to cut your material. This right here is very, very cheap jute twine that I got for like $2 at Home Depot. It's plenty strong. You should test it because I had one before that was very weak and you would pull it at all and it would break. This one does not break. Generally speaking, 2 feet it's not too long, it's not too short. I say it's perfect for me. Some people who are better usually use 18 inches or a little more, but I'm gonna go for 2 feet because it seems like a general length that most people can use. So in my opinion, the best sling length for a beginner is 2 feet, but the full length is 4 feet. When I say 2 feet, I mean when you're using it, you're using the sling like this. You're holding both ends and it's closed, well, it's cut in half right here, so it's 2 feet while you're using it. That's what I mean. And if you want this during the process, you will need 9 feet a strand. If you're doing my process and using jute twine thread from a hardware store, you'll need a 9-foot length, because in the process you will first braid a portion right here. You'll braid your threads and then you will loop it. So you will make the loop, you will first braid your loop, and then you will braid down, make your saddle, and then make your end whipping point. So that's why you need 9-foot length if you want to make a 2-foot sling. Because first you'll cut it in half in making the loop, and then in using it, you will cut it in half again. Which is what I mean by making a 2-foot sling. So if you're following this tutorial, you need 7 9-foot strands of jute twine or any twine that you're using. I'm doing this after I finished because I made a 1-hour clip. The total is an hour and a half of video. I'm just making a better explanation than in the video, because in the video I did a terrible explanation. So I hope this is less confusing. So now grab all of your string and find the center point. So you put it down and you grab near the middle, wherever that is, and you run it down, and then you grab the 2 ends and you meet them together, and then live with it, and then you find the center point, which for me is right here. Now, when you're doing this, it's better to do it standing or have these hanging down, separated, these 2 ends, because they can get tangled, and in general, it will get tangled in the beginning. It's really annoying. When it happens, just pick each piece out like this and untangle it, because I just tangled it and I lost all my progress. So I'm doing this again. In the beginning, it's very tedious and annoying, and if you're not up for it, it's all good. So I like to think of it as 3 outer strands and 1 center strand. Now to begin your braid and the whole braiding process is to get the outer strand and put it over the center strand. And you do that with the other side like this. And then you do this process over and over and over. Now in the beginning, like I said, it's very annoying, it's very loose, and it looks stupid in the beginning. But after this part, once you get in, it becomes a braid. So there you go, I've begun the braid. Now, again, in the video, you could not see what I was doing, I understand, but from now on, it's going to be very easy to see. The beginning of the braid is the most annoying part. Now, to properly braid, right now it's very loose and pretty terrible. To to properly do it, I'll tell you right now, is to twist it. When you're on the left side, twist it inward and put it over the center. When you're on the right side, you twist outward and in. And if you've ever made cordage, this is basically you're reverse twisting it. And now you might get confused at some points where sometimes you'll lose track. You might lose track and you end up with one side with more strands than the other. That's all right. Just put the other one past and put it back. It's all right. It won't really cause too many issues. Now this twist is important because it keeps everything tight, and tightness matters in this because it makes it stronger. Because when it's all loose up here, this is basically like loose thread that will break instantly. But this is actually hard. It's like hard rope. This is how you braid. My initial beginning was very sloppy. So you twist the outer one tighter and you put it over the center, and that becomes the center, and you twist the other side and you put it over, and you do this over and over until you reach the desired length. Now I'm gonna blast through this real quick. Let's see how the camera handles this. Alright, see, this is what happens. If you are stupid like me, you might twist up your thread like this. Now, it's pretty simple to get a hold of, but make sure you don't get upset like I did. If you get upset, you're gonna pull out your entire braid and you're gonna have to start over. See right here, I'm pulling right here and I'm pulling out the entire braid. Make sure you slow down and you grab a single strand and you pull it out. Your best course of action is, again, like I said, do not sit down. When you sit down, they tangle up very quickly. If they're floating loose, they will tangle less often. And what happened? So as you can see right here, I have a complete mistake on my hands. I have one strand here, two here, and four here. Now when this happens, just deal with it. Just twist that one over. Now you have two here. You need another one. So bring the one closest to the other side over, no issue, and just continue like nothing happened. It's pretty simple and it won't really cause many issues. As long as it's not on the saddle of the sling, you'll be good. Let's keep going. Once you get about this much length, which is probably about like 3 inches, just pull it. Just pull it a little bit, stretch it out, and let's see if we have enough. Not enough. You want to be able to slide your index finger in very easily, but not too easily. That's what we're working for right now. Right now we're working to make the loop. Oh my goodness, the video is 37 minutes long. I've been filming through the whole entire thing, like from the moment the video started. This is just one take. Editing this is gonna take so long because I use iMovie. I have Adobe on my computer, but that's I'm filming on my iPhone. I don't know how to import to my computer properly because whenever I do, I use any of the techniques on YouTube. It always just eviscerates my video. I remember I imported 2 videos from my phone to my computer to edit on Adobe. I imported it. One of the videos got eviscerated from my phone and didn't even appear on my computer. I was following a YouTube tutorial, one of the videos worked just fine and the other one disappeared. Or, for some reason, even though I put my codec on MP4, sometimes it decides to still film on there's MOV, MP4, and then there's another one. And then there's like a other one that doesn't really pop up on the options, but it automatically films on that one, and it's super bad. It doesn't work. So that's why I film on my phone, because I don't have a proper camera, and my iPhone is just fine. Still not enough. It's getting there though. Okay, now I think that is enough. Yes, it goes in and out, no issue, and slides around, no issue. This is what you want. You want a loop that fits your index finger just fine, no issue, or your thumb. Some people like to shoot off their thumb and index finger as well. This is perfect. And now this is the tricky part. This is the beginning of your main braid. You get your string, all these strands, and you line them up with each other. And basically your goal is to line up the lines with each other. So you grab this one, separate it. Again, this is much easier standing. Do not sit down while you're doing this like I am. It's a very bad idea. From the same part. So like this. These are from two different parts, and you combine them together into one. Okay, so here I have my 3 strands. So I combine these ones, I combine these ones, and these ones. These are my 3 strands, and then I find the center one. After you get one side, you don't really have to take too much care, but this is the center, and then these are all corresponding with the others. So you just start from here. It's better to start early. So you put the loops together as tight as you can, and you get these 2 very tight, as tight as you can do it. And you do a tight one, as tight as you can. And then you find the other side. The other side will come together on its own after this point. Like that. That's good. You find it and you put it over. And now once you have begun the connection, it gets super easy. After about a couple braids, no joke. After like only, here you go. Once you get them all figured out, you can just easily breeze through this. I hope that you can see this on the camera, because if I'm not filming this, I'm gonna be very upset. There you go. Now the connection point, mine is pretty, not the best. And basically you keep braiding from here. Now you pull on this connection point right here, make sure everything's tight and good. It's all good. And now from here, just blast through until you reach the center or near the center, and then we begin making our saddles. Here, I'm just gonna sit comfortably on the ground. So just keep on going until you reach about the center point.
So it's been an hour so far. I'm going to cut the video and restart it at the point where I start making the saddle.
Okay, so now we get started on braiding the saddle. Now all you have to do is separate your 2 bundles that you already have, and you grab one side, the side that you ended on, flip it over, not flip it over, but bring it over, and then you separate it so that the strands are even across, so that you have 7 strands and 7 strands, and then you just start braiding them as single bundles like you did before in the beginning when you were making the loop. And once you start doing that, you might need to get a clothes hook to hold them if you end up needing some assistance, because they might unravel while you're working on them separately, slowly, so just so they don't get loose. Now, once you get one side to a decent length, you can get your clothes hook or whatever you want to use. If you don't want to, you don't have to, but I recommend it because when you're working on the other one, the movements might cause it to slowly unravel. So you just hook it on and start on your second one and get them to the same length, and then you move on to the other one back and forth. When you're braiding the saddle, try to make it as tight as you can. The tighter, the better. When it's tighter, it's less likely to fray, and it's more consistent and less loose. When it's tight, it actually holds the rock consistently. I have one that's not tight, and it actually is very inconsistent when you shoot it. There's a high chance of the rock just flying out because the string is fully loose. It just moves around and the rock can fall through. So make sure you braid it as tight as they can. So once you get about halfway done like this, just inspect your sling and pull on it a couple times to make sure everything's tight and all your connection points work. So here is the completed saddle, not fully, you still need to connect the ends. It is about 6.5 inches long, and here I'll show you how to connect them. Make sure all your points are even and tight, and make sure when you do this that they are consistent and bend evenly, because there's a chance that one is tighter than the other and it will bend in a weird way. So make sure they bend together nicely. And to connect them back is pretty similar to the loop. When you made the loop, you attach them to each other and put one over the other like this, and this will make it so that your sling has a natural opening, so it isn't just 2 strings right next to each other. So just keep braiding nicely, and once you reach a certain point, your threads might start running out. And if they start running out very early on into here, add more. And I'll show you how to splice in more very soon. But you want your sling to taper down naturally a little bit. That will aid in comfort while using it, and it will cause it to whip faster, which releases your rock faster, which aids in being able to consistently shoot properly. So right here, it begins to taper down, meaning a few of the strands were shorter than the others, and since those strands disappear, it gets smaller and smaller as it gets closer to the end. And that is good, but you shouldn't overdo it. I accidentally overdo it here, and it ends up being very thin. But it actually isn't bad. And that's me showing you how to splice it in. You just add a piece in, a strand, and then you twist it in and braid it, and then it will be fully connected in. And yeah, the less strands there are, the easier it is right there. If it frays, you just cut that off later. with like nail clippers or a very fine scissor, or you can leave it if you want, but it's not a good idea to leave it. That's actually a weak point. So yeah, you just braid it in like this, like regular, and once it gets long enough, you can add your whipping material. And make sure that you don't just use your own natural, it's like the same material that you use for the sling. Don't use the same one, because then the damage that goes to the whipping portion will go through the entire sling, and it will cause it to slowly get damaged over time, which you don't want.
This taper actually adds comfort, meaning balance, because this is the part that you let go. This end is looped, so your finger here, and on this side you let go. And the thinner it is, the more...
That was me just yapping right there. So once it gets long enough, you hold both ends and you put your finger where the rock will be, and if they're both even, then it's long enough. Now you start putting in your whipping material. Now I use construction thread. This is the stuff you use to, you put two posts and then you put this line across, and most synthetic materials will work well. Even paracord, frayed paracord works well, but I like using this because it actually whips, and it's very light, but it also is very durable. So now you splice it in the same way you splice in any other material, but try to stagger your splices individually. And if you're using this type of thread, try to fully fray it, meaning fully get each thread out of it and not just put the whole bundle in like I'm doing right now. Break it apart and put them individually, and put the bundles of 3 or 4, however many threads you have, with one splice. Don't put all of them in, because I put in these 3 and then twist them in, and then I go down a little bit and then I twist in another 3. And make sure you do that, because if you just splice them all in at once, it has a tendency to braid improperly, which causes it to fall off. I had the whipping end fully unbraid somehow and break off.
Okay, my phone is at 1% right now. It just died right there. So basically, you turn it from 3 strands to 2, and you twist both sides tight, and you literally do a basic knot at the end. Make sure everything's tight, and you do a simple knot. Very simple, just a knot. Just a knot, just a single knot, nothing else. And then you get your wrapping material and you wrap from this point down.
Was I drunk or something? What is this? Okay, this is the next day. I said to taper it down. Make sure you don't taper it down this much. While it most likely won't break, this is unnecessary and very stupid. This almost was amazing. This is probably almost one of my best slings. And I ruined it by simply doing this. What is this? Okay, if you're following this as an actual tutorial, do not taper it down this much. You do not need to taper it down this much, or it could break if your material's not strong enough. I don't think it will break, but it's gonna be really weird. All right, let's just shoot it. This is about to be the first legitimate shot. I just grabbed this off the ground. First legitimate shot with this sling. So again, it's either about to blow up in my face, or it's gonna actually shoot. So let's see. Alright, it's terrifying. Okay, my aim, horrible. It went way to the left. I'm gonna aim a little bit better. Let me find another rock. If you're testing out your sling for the first time, don't use huge rocks. Use small rocks, get comfortable with it, and then use bigger rocks if you think it will hold it. That's farther than I can throw it. I can't throw it with my arm that far. Like if I full power lobbed it, probably, but that would hurt my arm. This, it's very comfy. That's farther than I can throw it. That's really good. All right, I guess I can angle the camera up and I'll try to shoot it up so you can maybe see the rock flying through the air. It broke on impact. It's either gonna sound great or it's gonna be very quiet. But hopefully it's loud and cool. I know I'm doing something really dumb right now. If I hit my camera, it's over. It just breaks instantly. And this thing's really expensive, so hopefully my aim is not super good. But it's good enough not to hit the target. Dang, this ground is uneven. Oh, there you go. All right, you're about to see what it looks like to get shot at by a slinger. That one just flew right over the camera, like really close. Now on camera, again, I don't know what it looks like. It's either gonna look really cool or look like I missed by a mile. But that one just went like probably 3 feet above the camera, perfectly in line. So if it went like 3 feet lower, I would have just killed the camera. I'm not doing this again. All right, overall the sling is pretty good. It hasn't broken and actually can sling a rock pretty dang far. Sorry for not uploading. If anyone actually watches this channel, I will probably upload more often, and hopefully you enjoyed. See ya.